Hello and welcome to another VRTK tutorial video. In this video we're going to show how we can set a teleport target point to actually teleport us to a different location so we end up in another location in the scene. Please consider becoming a VRTK patron. There are plenty of membership levels to sign up at and it really helps to fund these videos. Thanks to all the existing patrons and those patrons who are at the relevant level for a video shout out. You'll see your name scroll up on the screen. Thanks for your support. So we'll start by making a copy of our existing teleport target point 1 and we're just going to move that into another position in the scene. So I'll just update the position. And what we're going to do is set this teleport target. When you teleport to it, you don't actually end up here. You'll end up on top of this large pillar. So on this teleport target, on the spatial target facade, we want to use the target override, so we make sure we tick that. And then if we expand our teleport target prefab and we look inside, there should be a game object called override elements. And if we look inside override elements, there's one called target override. And this target override game object is basically the location we'll end up at when we do teleport to this teleport target. So all we need to do is change the destination of where that is and we'll put it on top of this large pillar. So I'll update the position right now. And as we can see, we've now moved up to the top here and we can see that when we teleport there, we will be facing towards the forward of this game object. So we're going to rotate that so we're facing back into the scene. So I'll rotate that around the Y axis by 90 degrees. And then if we were to switch this to local view, we can see now that we'd actually be facing this direction when we teleport. So we'll be able to teleport back down here if need be. So next what we're going to do is set up the hover state. So it not only shows up here, but it also shows up at the destination as well. And that's easy enough to do. If we just go into the visual states game object and then enabled visuals, and then the non-active states, we can see the hovered state here, which is already deactivated. If we just activate this temporarily so we can see what we're changing, and if we drill into the mesh container, we can see the base and the glow. We're just going to take the glow and we're going to put it up the top here. So if I just make a copy of glow, and I'm just going to change the position setting so it appears at the top. So let's update the position. And there we can see we've got the glow up the top as well. And now what I'm going to do is just put an arrow on here just to say that this is teleporting us upwards. So if we look in our models, we have arrow and I can grab, drag and drop that into the mesh container. So let's just make this a little bit smaller and make it fit to our teleport target point a bit better. We'll update the position, the rotation and the scale for this. And there we go. We can see this is kind of telling us when we hover over this, it's pointing up towards our other destination. And we'll just add a material to this so it looks a bit nicer. Now, the other thing we need to be aware of is when we're hovering over these other teleport targets, it allows us to show the direction with our thumbstick, which way we're going to be facing when we teleport, and we're doing that with our pointer arrow. We don't actually want that to show up on here because when we release our teleport, we'll be facing the direction that our teleport target point override target is set to. So we're going to turn that off, and the easiest way to do that is by using a game object state mirror. And all we'll do is we'll check to see when our pointer cursor disappears, we'll also turn off our pointer arrow. And simply all we need to do, if we collapse this, we're going to add a new game object here and we'll call this pointer state mirror. And in here, we're going to add a new component of a game object state mirror. And the game object state mirror needs a sources game object list and a targets game object list. So we're going to add two children under here and we'll add them in as well. So I'll create two children, one called sources and one called targets. So create an empty game object called sources. And on that, we're going to add the game object observable list component. And now we can just copy and paste sources and we can change that to targets. Now back on our pointer state mirror, we just need to set these references up. So sources becomes sources and targets becomes targets. The next thing we need to do is say, what state should we be watching? Well, we want to watch our curved pointer valid cylinder. So if we expand our curved pointer and then expand all the way into the destination, we've got element cylinder. And if we expand this, we can see we've got the valid cylinder, which gets turned off when we hover over our teleport target point, but arrow doesn't get turned off. So what we want to do is on our pointer state mirror, within the game object state mirror, the sources wants to point to the valid cylinder. So we'll put that into there, and then the targets wants to point to arrow. So what will happen now is when valid cylinder is turned off, our arrow will turn off, and when valid cylinder turns on, our arrow will turn on. It won't happen straight away. We do need to set something up on our teleport target point to actually do that. So if we go back to our teleport target point, when we enter our teleport target point with our pointer, what we want to do is on our pointer state mirror, just call the game object state mirror and just call the process method. And again, same for the exited, just call our pointer state mirror, game object state mirror, process. So when our pointer enters the teleport target, the valid cylinder will turn off, and therefore arrow will copy that state and it will turn off. And then when we exit, valid cylinder will turn on and arrow will copy that state and turn back on as well. And finally, all we need to do now is on our teleport target point, let's make sure it's enabled. And if we just drop back into our hovered section, we need to make sure that was turned off by default as we enabled it. And there we go. Everything should be set up. We should be able to run the scene and see that working. And now we're in the scene, we can see our teleport point that we had before already works as expected. And then as we hover over to this one, I've added a little arrow animation to show us where we're going. But we can see when I teleport over to that, I actually don't appear on that teleport target, but I've appeared up on top over the pillar instead. And then we can teleport down if we need to. And that's it. We've now set up our teleport target that puts us in a different location. I hope this video has been useful to you. If it has, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Leave any likes, dislikes, and comments down below. And I'll see you for the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.